We are getting ready to go live.
That's your phone. My phone's somewhere else. I don't care right now.
Yeah, you don't need it.
I don't need it.
You don't need it. Hi guys! Welcome to Let's Get Witchy. I am Zoe Soul, and I am just going to make sure that I'm like words. I'm going to make sure that I'm live on all platforms. In the meantime, you can enjoy the lovely Maverick having his drink, waving his wave. And let's see. I do not see myself here, so let's do a refresh.
Yes, refresh and see.
There we are. Okay.
Look, it's us.
Let me make it not private.
Right.
Public. Because, I mean, the whole point is that we are talking to
drinking my scotch.
There we go!
Hey!
Hi, we're here!
We did it.
We did it. Okay, you guys, I am super excited for this edition of Let's Get Witchy because we've got some awesome stuff to talk about. I wish that this was longer than an hour because there's so much to cover, but my feeling is that we're probably going to want a part two of this conversation. So, for those of you that don't know, Maverick is John Maverick.
John Maverick.
I call you Maverick.
And most people do. There's too many Johns in the world. Most people just call me Maverick.
Yeah, I mean, you're Maverick.
There you
but
go.
John Maverick, is a fellow witch, a fellow practitioner of the craft, as well as a performer, a magician. Like, what don't you do? You do everything. Like, why don't you introduce yourself? Because you have like a bazillion skills, and I feel like I'll probably miss some of them.
I should have written it all out. I actually used to have a card that had all my different things that I do, but I've done a lot of stuff.
It's a resume that goes like this long.
I don't do pottery.
Oh, well.
That's not my thing. I'm not good at pottery.
That's okay.
It's good to
That's
know.
okay. There are people that can do pottery. You
Yes.
do much more interesting stuff. But I'm super excited to talk to you today because not only are we going to talk about the craft, but we are going to talk about Haunted Austin.
That's right.
Because something that you do is you give ghost tours, and I am super curious about that. I have definitely had my own encounters with spirits, and in my lifetime, I've always been fascinated by spirits. But you, sir, you have had many encounters, especially right here in Austin, and we are going to talk about that tonight.
That's right.
But before we dive into like the Austin stuff, I'm curious, can you tell our lovely friends how the hell did you get involved in being a ghost tour guide? Like, how did that process unravel for you?
The short story is my mom got me the job.
Okay.
But what happened was I think I was 19 years old, 20 years old, right around there. Lived in Austin all my life. Left town, went to New Orleans because I figured New Orleans cool enough for me.
Yeah.
And quickly decided New Orleans was too damn hot for me. I mean,
Is it more hot than here?
it's more humid.
Oh my god.
It's just sticky every day. It's
That's
terrible.
terrible.
I love New Orleans. Don't get me wrong, but you're not going to see me out there
Sorry, New Orleans.
before 2 in the afternoon. It's terrible, especially dressing like this. You know, it's just no good. But I fell in with the ghost tour guides there. The first night I was there, took a ghost tour. Never knew that they even existed. But I came back to Austin with the intent of going back to New Orleans to help them out in October.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, who at the time was a member of a bunch of historic organizations like the Daughters of the American Revolution or whatnot, had a speaker come and speak to them about ghosts in Austin. It was the owner of the Austin Ghost Tours. She'd been doing it for about 4 years at that point. And my mother just goes up to her, my soccer mom, good church lady mom, goes up and says, "My son would be so good at doing this. You should hire him." And Janine, still one of my best friends, almost 21 years later, says, "Well, just have him take a tour and we'll talk afterwards." A week later, I show up and say, "Yes, I'm here to do ghost tours with you." And she took me on the tour, comped me on, and then took me out and said, "Okay, tell me a ghost story." And I told her one of the stories that she told. And she was first very defensive. How did you know that story? That's my story. I wrote that story. I did the research. I know I'm the only one that knows it. And I said, "You just told it to me." It's how I learn. I'm an auditory
Yeah,
learner.
yeah, I'm the same. That's
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
And so I got it, and I just I loved the story. It just resonated with me, and it's one that I'm telling tomorrow night on my tour.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite stories.
Like, how long is it? Is it one you could tell tonight, or is it for another time? Or we don't want to ruin that. Go on his tour.
Yeah, it's a great story though. It's about the Austin hanging trees. I'll say that much.
Oh, okay.
And when we're on the tour, we stand underneath the hanging trees.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Really quickly, I just want to shout out to who's here because we've got some regulars. Hello, my dear Kate. Hello, Carlos. Hello, Bianca. You guys are always here, and I love you for being here. Just want to give a shout out. We are going to keep talking, but definitely in the second half of this segment, we will be answering questions. So as he's talking, think of any questions that you may have for him. We will answer them. Before we started, you actually mentioned a story about when you were 6.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, please tell us.
Okay, so probably the most common second most common question. The most common question I get asked on the tour is, are those your normal clothes? Yes, this is just when I tell people I'm in my 40s, I don't care anymore. I think I look good.
You look good.
Thank you.
You look very good. Yeah. All right, everybody, poll. Does he not look good?
There you go.
Anyway.
It's a new shirt. I'm fishing for compliments. Anyway, but the second most common question is, have you ever seen a ghost?
Yeah.
And sure, I can tell a dozen stories from a dozen times that weird things have happened either on the tour or at a bar downtown or exploring an old hotel. Sure. But the one that really resonates is the first time I saw a ghost. Mm-hmm. And I was 6 or 7 years old. And my parents, both of them loved history. My stepfather was in a lot of historic organizations, the Texas Historic Foundation. He was a board member of that. Mm-hmm. And on occasion, they would just pull me out of school and say, you're going with us today. And I remember,
cool.
Yeah, because instead of, just sitting in class, we're going to go to actual battlegrounds. We're going to go to old forts. We're going to explore cemeteries. I wonder why it turned out this way. I grew up playing in cemeteries like they were playgrounds.
But did you say your mom was like the Christian going soccer
mom?
Oh,
yes. She's actually a retired Episcopal priest.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So my family was very Catholic but very conservative, and they were not really into all of this. So I was definitely the odd one out. That's so awesome.
At this point, we can have conversations about it. It's beautiful. But we went to Goliad, Fort Goliad. It's about 2 hours southeast of Austin. Mm-hmm. If you're in Austin and you're driving to Port Aransas, you're probably going to go right past the fort. Highly recommended to make a stop. It's a beautiful place, but it was one of the big losses of the Texas Revolutionary War. Mm-hmm. In fact, almost no survivors. In fact, when at the Battle of the Alamo, they were shouting, "Remember Goliad."
Oh, wow.
Psych them up. It's another big loss there, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
We get there, it's a Tuesday, it's rainy, there's no one there. The only person there is the curator, and when we walk in, his office door is open, he's sitting there watching The Price is Right. He didn't expect anyone to be there that day. But my parents are asking him questions, and I say, hey, can I go play around the courtyard? Mm-hmm. Sure. I run out, and as I'm walking around, I see a reenactor. A man, 40 feet away from me, but he's got the full Texas infantry get up, got the rifle. I want to see the rifle. I'm 6 years old, But at the same time, we've just already disturbed this one fella. Uh-huh. Not sure how to approach him. So I'm on guard as I slowly kind of walk up behind him, and he's keeping about 10, 15 foot distance from me, right? Yeah. He turns around a corner. I run up to catch up to him, and when I get there, he's not there, but my parents and the curator are. Mm-hmm. And I wait my turn very quietly, trying to, get a word in and say, where'd the reenactor go?
Oh, wow.
And the curator says, there's no reenactor here, kid. You're the only fools coming out on a day like this. Yeah. But that night, I talked about it all day. Yeah. Tried to get some clarification from my parents.
So really quickly, he was, because lots of times when you think about ghosts, you think kind of this translucent figure is.
Oh no, he was.
But for you, you just saw him. Yeah.
Clear as day. He was.
Skin.
As far as I was concerned, it was a human walking there.
Wow.
Regular
okay.
But that night, my mom's tucking me in, and I say, "Mom, do you think I saw a ghost?" And she just says, "Well, if you did, it's okay."
Oh, what a good mom!
Yeah, I know.
I love your mom.
The worst part about it for me is that she has no memory of this at all. Wow. None. I've talked to her multiple times. She has no memory of it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
You might see my dog's tail wagging over here. He's trying to get attention.
Oh, hello, Cody. Welcome. No, that's really cool. So I do have a question, because I know that, like, obviously you do ghost tours, and do you find that when you're on these tours, that when you have large groups, that ghosts are less active or more active, or does it depend on the ghosts, like different personalities are kind of more extroverted and want to come out, or what is like?
I have a hard time quantifying it, because there have been so many. Oh, hold on 1 second.
Oh, our screen just went off.
Our screen just went off, but I can do this here.
Technical difficulties, you guys. We're good. It might be the ghost in the house.
Might be the ghost.
He has a haunted doll
Normally
here.
I keep ghosts at bay by not worrying. I don't know what happened. Oh, well, that's fine. We'll just use
Well, we're talking about ghosts.
We're talking about ghosts.
Yeah.
Normally, ghosts don't bother me in my house, so we'll see. Anyway, where was it? Right. So things have happened on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
It is so random. It will happen a lot less when there's large groups.
Yeah.
It's just,
I imagine
if anything, it's energy competing with energy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
It's like trying to get heard in a loud room.
Right.
Right? Something might happen, but we might not notice. But at the same time, we've had times when there's 20 or 30 people all together, and one person notices something,
Mm-hmm.
or something inside of a building. A light turns on when there's obviously nobody there, or the window shade opens
Mm-hmm.
on the second floor. You know, we walk up, all the shades are closed, so we walk away, one of the window shades is open. There's I'm talking about one building in particular right
Which
now.
building?
Lots of, the Wooten building downtown on I'm so wanting to say 9th Street. Yeah, 10th Street.
The
Wooten.
building? Which one is that? Is
So
it like
Dr. Wooten,
hotel or?
no, it's actually vacant and has been a lot for the past several years. But it's just a office building.
Mm-hmm.
But it was originally Dr. Wooten's house, and it was also his surgery studio where he did surgeries.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, dating back to the 1870s, I believe, is when it first opened. So he's been there a long time.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And so Kate is wondering, are you a medium?
No, I'm a large. Sorry. No,
Dad jokes.
Sorry.
Galore. We love them here.
And there's Dog, everybody. Dog.
Oh, this is Dog.
To eat.
And
She was
if you're
born on the
wondering
couch.
what Dog's name is, it is Dog.
Yes.
We have been acquainted. Dog is great. Okay. Oh, here we go. More technical difficulties, but that's fine.
I don't know what's going on.
It's the ghosts.
It's the ghosts, I guess.
This is actually the most technical difficulties that we have had since maybe like the first show that I did.
It's all my fault.
It's all your fault.
I'll
It's all
take
this
the
like
blame.
crazy woo-woo energy. But I'm okay with it. You guys actually, so those of you that follow me know that I'm a big, the word believer for me is weird. Like when you're say I'm a believer in this, because I'm just like, but this is just the reality. But I very much work with house spirits. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm big into. I think that all houses have them, just some are dormant and some are not. And I will say, getting the tour of your house, the little mini tour we did beforehand, he has this doll, y'all. He's got a doll. And I immediately was like drawn to it and kind of like, well, what is that? Tell me about this little pretty over here. And what is it? Is it haunted?
I was told it was haunted.
Okay. I think it's haunted, but that's my opinion.
I get some great energies off of it.
I love it.
I love her.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine, I don't know where she came up with it, but she found it and just had it and said, I need to get rid of this haunted doll. What do I do? Do I throw it out? Do I burn it? What should I do? And it's like, no. Let me take it.
Yeah.
I'll put it in my house, and it can live there happily.
Can we actually?
Yeah, I'll get her down.
I wasn't expecting for the doll to be a thing. but for whatever reason, I feel really drawn to this doll, and I love it. And she does have a very, very good energy, but I feel like I want to share with you guys, so you can see her. But her
Dog's
eyes.
excited. Dog,
Hi, dog.
yeah, I brought her down.
Look how pretty she is.
It's the only pink thing in my house, I swear.
She has beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
Here, put her up to the camera so they can see.
Keep going to the
Into the camera. Yeah, she is. She is. Oh, Bianca's saying I brought the ghosts. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. Hello, Lakin. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're back. Right now, for those of you that are just tuning in, we are interviewing John Maverick, who does a gazillion things. But one of the things he does is he runs the ghost tours here in Austin. So we're talking about haunted Austin and specifically some of your experiences and your background. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I am curious if they are, you often think, right, that like older places are going to have a lot more hauntings, but in my experience, that's not necessarily true. And so my question for you is, like, obviously as a ghost tour person, you're going to go into the historical places because, of course, but are there modern, like,
of course.
And yeah, and where in Austin will you find?
Well, even the Driscoll Hotel, which is known for its ghosts, its historic ghosts, and its history, has ghosts that are 20, 30 years old, that are recent. Even some of the more prevalent hauntings. And I actually have a theory about this.
Please tell
I'd
us.
love to share it because I don't get to share much. And this is based originally on Janine Plummer, who is the owner of the ghost tours. That what she taught me, her belief on ghosts. But first off, picture this. My first job, 1994, working in a warehouse. We had a transistor radio that ran on big old D-cell batteries.
Oh my gosh.
All right. And so, end of the month, we'd be turning up the volume just so we could hear it.
Yeah.
And then you take the batteries out, you put new ones in, you blow your ears out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how energy dissipates. It's not. Yeah, no, buddy.
Hi, dog.
Yes, hello.
Hi, dog.
It's not sudden. The batteries don't just die. They slowly die. You can measure it.
Right.
When people get older, when a human being gets into their later years, they slow down and they slowly lose their energies and things, right? Most ghost stories come from sudden and traumatic death. Quick death. Oh, sorry, he wants attention, so he's going to be dramatic.
Dog needs attention.
Okay,
we will give dog attention.
Anyway, sudden and traumatic death is what causes, or 9 times out of 10, what causes a ghost. Because that energy has absolutely nowhere to go. Yeah. That it can't dissipate. But,
well, and do you also think that it has to do with, because like when you are dying slowly, let's say you have a disease or something, you're kind of mentally prepping yourself. So you know it's coming.
Yes.
But when it's like sudden and traumatic, it can sort of be like, I was in my body and now I'm out of it. And I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
And so it's sort of like you have these souls that were not prepared for it. Hi, dog. Yeah, this is dog, everybody. This is dog. Cody is saying that he can relate to dog.
I'm guessing dog.
Yep.
But it's just...
Kate is saying she can hear other voices while we're speaking. Well, the other voices are actually our tech. I would love to say that it's the ghost, but it's actually our tech here. Gummy Bear says that she lives in Washington, and there's a lot of haunted places. Yeah. I love Washington, by the way.
I'm guessing you mean Washington State.
Dog is.
Not the DC.
Dog shredding my pants.
Oh no.
Bianca, no. They came like this, but yes, dog definitely.
Hi, Dandy. Dog says hi. He loves you.
Dog is amazing. Dog always steals the show.
Oh, sure.
In the last one we did, my dog stole the show.
It happens.
Yeah.
But now he's just looking out the window.
Yeah, it's fine now.
All right, but when it slowly dies, I mean, when there's that sudden death, we have all this energy left over.
Right.
Now, some people would say, okay, well, then you've got, 20, 30 years or whatever that the human life would be. Except we're using this energy to power this meat suit that we have.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden we don't have that. We just have this energy. And it can last for 100, 200 years. That's why it's to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know ghost stories that are, 1,000 years old
Mm-hmm.
that keep getting repeated. But they will say, yeah, but we don't have too much evidence of that one these days. But this girl that died 150 years ago, oh yeah, she was seen yesterday. So
Yeah.
ghost stories are not a permanent thing. Some will die over time. Some will fade out. Some will become less common.
Mm-hmm.
Some will come back.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, tell me about that.
That's probably one of my favorites because it's one of my favorite little places to go. Casino El Camino downtown. There is a little girl that haunts the upstairs.
Little girls are so creepy.
I know.
They're the best.
She passed away from a fever when she was about 2 years old.
Okay.
So, but when I figured out who it was, because we just knew there was a ghost upstairs. When I figured out who the ghost had to be, and I said her name, she disappeared.
Mm.
She was gone.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it was only for a year, almost to the day. And then she came back, started haunting it, but she came back stronger and was doing more, and people were reporting more activity. So I don't know if the recognition might have first scared her,
Mm-hmm.
but then also could it have some way empowered her? Could that be part of the witchy energy of putting things towards it, putting your intention, putting your energy into that story that you're telling about that one person somehow feeds them a little bit, and they can actually, feed off of it in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just drinking scotch.
No, that's actually really, really fascinating. So I know that one of the things that I have done in the past, and I generally try to avoid it, if I can help it, but I've done some work with demons,
Mhm.
and there is that thing that when you expel a demon from a home or from an environment, you have to do it multiple times because it will return, it will come back.
You always want to
And sometimes like with a huge vengeance.
Mhm.
So I'm familiar with that with like other types of spirits, but not ghosts in particular. So that's really interesting to me. But it also makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't they be able to?
If we jump into that, giving a demon attention is what it is seeking.
Mm-hmm.
It is seeking that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, expelling it in some ways does empower it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is one of the biggest problems I have with the full-blown exorcisms.
Right. Yes.
An actual exorcism is what a demon is looking for.
Right.
Right.
It wants the fight.
It's the internet troll
Yep.
looking for that recognition. So,
Mm-hmm.
there are better ways.
Yeah, actually, we should talk about that one day. One day, I want to do like a full blown demon episode and just get a few different demonologists on it. Well, I don't know if I have access to like real demonologists, but I do know a gentleman that does exorcisms, and I do know people that know a lot about demonology. So I think that would be a great one. Not for today. We do have. Let me just go to some of these.
So I collect spiritual books of all denominations, and one of my favorites. It's actually over there on that shelf. Is one of my favorite little passages in the Book of Uncommon Prayer, or a good Book of Uncommon Ceremony, I think is the name of it. But it's most Christian denominations have the Book of Common Prayer, and this is the Book of Uncommon Service.
Mm.
It's under exorcism. It says, consult your local bishop.
Really?
That's all it says.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, ah.
Oh man. So yeah, I have a very witchy way of dealing with these energies, which is I mean I grew up Catholic, so I'm very familiar with that. We actually had an exorcism in my house when I was growing up because we had some entities in the home that I was growing up in, and we had a priest come in and do the whole thing. But since then, when I transitioned over to the path of witchcraft, I started to understand spirituality from a very different perspective, and it's not binary. at least that's not my view of it, right? And so like having that different perspective, I deal with demons in a different way. But that's hilarious and and makes, it's very much a very specific viewpoint and way of looking at the world that is interesting. You guys, we do have, not only do we have Maverick here, but we have his amazing partner, Emylie, one of the voices in the background. I am getting a bath. Dog is giving me a bath. It's fine. I mean, I need to be cleaned apparently. Apparently, my neck needs to be cleaned. Oh, okay. But I'm super excited because, squirrel. That's so cool. So if you yell squirrel or cat
is the other one.
He will run to the window. It is the coolest thing I have ever seen. Hey, Ben. Okay. And then, hey, Lakin, can fear fuel them as well? That's a really good question. Maverick says yes. I'm going to go with that answer that yes.
Yes.
Where I live, we have the baby graves, the town that's like 20 miles away. All the children came down with a sickness and they all died. It is haunted. You should look it up. Is that, you're in Washington, correct? Yes. We need to, oops.
So many different things. That's one thing that I love when people are like, oh, well, how many haunted cemeteries are there? Not many.
Yeah.
That's where you go once you're dead.
Yeah.
I know of one cemetery that's haunted by an old caretaker.
Raven, hi! So Raven is a medium. She's a very good medium. And I'm glad you're here because we are right in your wheelhouse. But you guys, we're going to go ahead and transition over to introducing the amazing Emylie Rifley. I'm sorry. I've only ever seen your name spelled. I haven't actually heard it out loud. I just call you Emylie, siren, goddess, mermaid, all kinds of things. So come on in here, my dear. So Emylie is a witch. And why don't you introduce yourself? Let them all know who you are.
So I am Emylie of Siren Emylie. I'm a professional performing mermaid who's also very obsessed with fish keeping. This is my fish tank behind us, one of many here in the house. I have been a practicing witch since I was 13, and I'm 25 now. And other than that, the only other thing to know about me is I like shinies. pretty straightforward there.
Shinies are great. So one of the things we're going to transition over to, everybody, is talking about, because the show is called Let's Get Witchy. It is about witchcraft. We cover all things witchy, but we're going to talk about witchcraft. And I think this is going to be a fun one because you all have had, you all that watch the show get a lot of my perspective on the craft because I share about it frequently. But I really wanted to take this opportunity to have both of you share your views on the craft and kind of dive a little into that, because one thing that I know for sure on this path is that no two paths look the same. And that is one of the things that attracted me to the path and that I love about it is that it's not dogmatic, at least the way I practice it. Some people are very dogmatic with it, but that's not me.
Don't get me started. Oh, speaking of dogmatic.
Dog!
Oh.
This is Dog, everybody.
Good boy.
Okay, hold on, real quick. Steve, yes, I'm going to play with my damn hair. I'm having a good damn hair day. I should be up here. My friend Steve just texted me saying, stop playing with your hair, you diva. I look good.
Yeah.
You just wish you could have hair like this, boy. All right.
Yeah. Your hair is lovely.
Thank you.
Play with it all day. It's got some Pantene Pro V wigs going on. Oh, hi, Dog.
Dog.
It's okay. It's okay. Me and Dog are friends. We're
All
good.
right.
As long as he's friends. Hi, you want to stay here with us?
So let's go ahead and dive in. Specifically, Emylie, I wanted to talk with you about, because we were briefly talking about this idea of like the casual path.
Yeah.
And will you please tell?
Squirrel.
I will never get sick of that. It's the best thing in the world.
It's been years. and I still think it's hilarious. And he's looking at us
The
like,
best
"Wait,
part is we didn't teach him.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
you how did like,
No clue how we even learned what the furry creature with the fluffy tail was squirrel. Like it just.
No, so you said it again. He turns around. Like, maybe this window.
I wish you guys could see this. Like he is at the
Same
window.
thing with
just like
cat. Like his ears perked up for that one. He's never, as far as I know, actually met a cat, and like he just knows the 2 words.
that's
Like,
amazing.
it's pretty ridiculous.
Steve is saying maybe it's Maverick, maybe it's
Maybelline.
Maybelline. Yes. So squirrel. Oh my god.
We're gonna talk about witchy stuff.
Right.
We're just gonna pump the dog.
It always gets, honestly, you guys, like
Oh,
it
there we go.
always gets derailed because there's an animal like everywhere. There's
Squirrel,
animals, and animals are just so much cooler than people. They just
Cat.
are.
Dog, cat.
Wait, squirrel.
Oh, he's
He's over it.
He's really confused. He's like,
Well,
oh, I should
squirrel.
go to the back door and go get one.
Yeah, there it is. You see it? The squirrel right there. Get it.
He wags his tail. It's a little mean, but
The rest of the show is gonna be dog chasing squirrel. Yeah, I mean, fair. It's like you can't really compete with that. It's a dog that reacts to squirrel.
he's like,
It's like
what
you
the
guys, come on.
You're lying to me now.
Oh, hello, my dear. This is the fairy.
Oh, yes.
The fairy godmother. Bright blessings. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing the ring that you made me. Just so you know. I love it. I wear it frequently. You made me 2. I have the other. I almost wore the other one tonight, but I did not. But I love the rings. Anyway, let's talk about the casual path. Please tell us what that means to you.
So what that means to me is taking all of that like stress that's been in the witchy world and throwing it away. Like everybody tells you, oh well, you have to learn the associations of the tarot cards. If you can't do a reading and not look at the book, then you're not really getting the reading that you're putting all that work into getting. That's not true. Like, at least I feel that's not true. I get just as good of a reading that way. And then from like beyond that, there's the whole aspect of like, I don't have the capacity to remember every single gemstone's associations. I can get vague like impersonations of what each crystal's association is, but that's a lot to remember, and I feel like it's one of those things that constantly changes as we learn more. So investing energy in that isn't something that I find imperative to do. But then when I go and I look it back up later, when I'm like, I feel like this is the rock that I need with me today, I look it back up, and now I'm learning it all over again. And that constantly revives a sense of wonder and joy in my craft that I don't know if I could hold and maintain if I forced myself to memorize it just because everybody else told me that that's the way witchcraft should be. And that's how I do that. Like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, like, I really focus a lot on crystals, sigils, and knotwork. Now, mind you, sigils, he's got tattooed all over himself. He's got different sigils on each side of him. But I couldn't tell you a single name of any of those. I'm not even kidding. But the kind of sigil work that I, like, not only have I not bothered to, like, not only have I not bothered to, like, understand the, like, basic witch stuff, like, things that, as a big witch, he's gotten tattooed, but I actually don't even focus on those. I tend to focus on homemade sigils, where you take a phrase and you break it down. Like, those are my favorite sigils. And I don't even necessarily like the style of ones that I produce. Like, it seems to almost, like, not have the same, like, mysticism. Like, it's not as mysterious.
Right, because you know exactly
Because
what
just
you
like
did,
an artist
right.
never thinks their art is as good as the rest of the world does. Exactly, which I'm also a big artist. Everything I do is art.
Oh, yeah, she's extremely
yes,
artistic.
Like,
yes.
lots of like drawing, like straight up drawing art. But it's the same way with my sigils.
Mm-hmm.
And so I typically tend to default to picking sigils from an old Tumblr blog that doesn't even make sigils anymore, but made so many over a course of a couple of years that I'm like, I need one to help me feel less afraid of everybody else. Not more confident in myself, but less afraid of everybody else. And you know what? Let's get the other one for confidence as well. Then I just go look up that blog, do the keyword for their symbols, and then take that with me for the day. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. I can't contain all of those sigils by memory and use them as day to day and still have it feel the same. And so for all of you out there who feel like you aren't good enough of a witch or real enough of a witch,
Oh God.
I'm here to tell you there's really not a standard. Like, don't feel...
Just start practicing.
Yes, just start practicing.
Just start practicing.
Like,
I can quote more of the Bible from memory than most Christians.
and it's true.
But just, yeah, no, be you.
Be you.
Yeah.
Be you.
Well, okay,
Be
so
true to
I
you.
love everything you're saying because honestly, like when I was a baby witch, I would get overwhelmed and feel stressed out at times. Like, oh, there's so much to learn. How am I ever going to learn all this? And then you do have, unfortunately, like in any practice, there are witches out there that are very dogmatic, that are very like, this is the way, and you have to know this. And then I would just feel dumb around people like that.
Exactly.
But then, you know, I kind of had to like reconnect with what it was that drew me to the path. And the thing that I really think is most important, and this is just my opinion, but the most important thing about practicing the craft is not whether you know the names of the sigils or the tarot cards or all that. It's really about, are you connected to your intuition? And are you able to really tune into your environment and create a relationship with the energies around you? Because magic is manipulation of energy. It's alchemy, right? So it's like, how is my energy interacting with the energy in my environment? And so for you, rose quartz might work a very specific way. But for me, rose quartz might have a different effect. And that's because they're relationships, right? So like my relationship with you is different from my relationship with her, is different. My relationship with dog, right? Like and so they're going to feel different. And so it's not, I mean, the way that line of thinking is very, it's very kind of Abrahamic to me. It's like the Christian theology, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And not to be mistaken with like mysticism, right? Because I think Christian mystics are badass and I love them. But like that very dogmatic, like this, you know, that binary thinking, that black and white, and there's no room for nuance and for actual like relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really what, for me, the craft is about. Is like, it's about your relationship to your environment and the energies.
Exactly.
And that's what you're talking about when I hear this, you know, this thing about like, I don't worry about memorizing all of the sigils. I just go, okay, what is it that I'm needing? And you go and you seek that out.
And on that note, yes, I love the historic sigils, but some dude made them up.
Right.
I mean, it's
Okay,
not.
Here.
It was not a great power that came down and
It
made
wasn't something
these.
where lightning struck a field and left a symbol behind, and then everybody was like,
No, it was some dude sitting back. He might have been a monk. He might have been on opium. We don't know. He might have been a monk on opium. But it's your intention that makes it. It's your intention that makes it what it is.
Exactly.
And so if you know, there's power in words because we give words power.
I want to kind of tie that into like something that I've seen so many people be really wary of. And like I was one of those people for a really long time. And that's crystals that either have been aurized where they've got the sheen on them, like aura quartzes and things like that, or things that are lab grown, like goldstones and bismuths and things like that. You know, there was at the beginning of my witchcraft when I still held all of these associations of, oh, well, being a witch means I have to be like extremely natural about everything I do,
Right?
And also like overwhelmingly powerful, like etc. I got to this point where I'm like, okay, but I really still connect to those. Those are still really pretty, really pretty stones.
Yeah.
Like I really like those.
Yeah.
And I sat back and I thought about why that made it different. Like, why is it so different just because it was grown in a lab? If anything, you have now integrated the power of mankind into an already powerful piece of element. Like,
I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly. And like when it was like one of the biggest revelations that I've like revelations that I have like ever had. Because it was just like that unlocked so much. Like people get so upset when you're like, oh, well, that's just like a gold
Well, it's
aura.
like a piece of art, right?
Exactly.
It's just like
Yes.
somebody, you're an artist. So like you create this beautiful piece of art and you gift it to somebody and it has an energy behind it. And so like
Exactly.
just because something's man-made
doesn't mean it's not one of a kind and absolutely stunning. It's did it make you feel something? Bam. Then it did its job.
Right.
Like that's really the simplicity of it, and that's why like okay, I'm gonna like if I've got some space to like backtrack into a story.
Please
about-
do.
Okay, about a little
You
story.
have space.
So, one of my ex-girlfriends before we started dating, and this was like a big red flag that I didn't listen to, as we do, but I'd reached out to her because she was a mutual witch, and I'd showed her something that I was like doing for myself that day for energy work, and that included having several different just little tumbled gemstones with some sigils next to them in my space.
Mhm.
And she stepped back and she was like, "Oh well, people think that's
Did
how
she do
gemstone
that?
magic."
Please tell me
She
did
met
that.
because we're messaging, so I have no
for
clue.
you did that.
But yeah,
but I was
she's
like,
like,
I really hope she did
Well,
that.
people think that like gemstone magic works this way, where you can just like pick a stone and then like whatever happens is like because of the stone, or like that by default the things that the stone has to do with will like immediately be manifested and you're like cured of whatever that issue. Like proceeded to like unwarranted. I didn't request an explanation of her version of the craft.
Mhm.
But it was one of those moments where I'm like, do I not know enough about my craft? Do I need to step up my game? Am I a fake witch? Like, it was one of those that, like, looking back, like, tying it back to the earlier conversation, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I was demeaned, and my craft was frowned upon by somebody who I thought I could trust.
Mm.
And I really didn't know what to say to her at that time. And I never went back and revisited it or anything like that. But eventually, my brain connected the dots with the whole, well, that's got the power of man. And, okay, but I don't have to do your version of witchcraft for my craft to be just as powerful as your more enlightened craft. Like, it really doesn't. I can get the same results. And, like, this might be more of a controversial thought even.
Please
But
tell me.
the placebo effect is real for a reason.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So even if the way that you perceive crystal work should be done is not how I'm doing it, doesn't mean it won't have the same results.
It doesn't make it less
because
magic.
I picked for that. I manifested that intent, and that is the essence of witchcraft to me. Manifesting intent.
Man, awesome. I love it.
Just because you said that. Oh, I wish my memory was good enough to remember all the details on this, but it was in the late 80s or early 90s.
Dog.
A dog. Come on. Oh.
Come on. What is this?
Don't be rude.
I'm gonna eat your bowl. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it. It's mine.
It's okay, dog.
Totally
It's
forgot
okay.
where I was. No, it
Well,
was late 80s, early 90s. A
Hey,
psycho.
Squirrel.
Thank you.
It really
never
doesn't
gets
get
old. It never gets
It
old.
was a psychologist in Louisiana where voodoo is practiced, and I've done a lot of study there. I love how voodoo, with its origins from African tribalism, elements of Santeria and Christianity, and all these things come together. It's beautiful, especially New Orleans versus St. Louis. There's little changes. Oh, it's gorgeous. But he, as a psychologist, wanted to prove how false it was. And so he learned the rituals, got the equipment to do the rituals, and then proceeded to help people as a voodoo witch doctor.
Oh, wait, I've seen this.
You've seen this?
Yes,
Yes.
it's amazing.
And,
yes.
and it's like, these people say they were helped.
Yes.
So it's proof that it's fake, because I'm not doing it. But you're doing it.
Yeah.
You are doing it.
Yeah.
You are giving it. And their intention is there, and all you're doing is going through the practice.
Right. So this is so interesting, because one of the things I like, not a lot of people know about
We're
me.
gonna do this right. I'll be right back. Come on.
Dog's in trouble. No, dog's just going outside. It's fine.
While we're right here, is there any comments?
Yeah, let's go to the comments. Even mystics like me have to remind other Christians and other pagans that it's about relationships and learning how to leverage the power. 100%. Thank you for that comment.
I use that as an excuse.
Oh my God, Kate!
I'm just drinking straight out of the bottle, man. Good God.
Oh man! Oh shit!
They call me bad company.
I think he likes you.
No, you guys, honestly though, so I was at Daly's last weekend, and
Yeah, I saw photos.
yeah,
That's great.
I've got, well, you'll see, I've got like gashes and bruises all over me because she has wolves,
Yes.
and she has a wolf enclosure.
Oh, they're beautiful
Oh,
too.
they're
I
so
love playing
pretty.
with them.
But me, in my naked, drunken state, was like, wolves! And I threw myself in, and I had so much fun. We were running in circles, but then I'm like, yes, love me! And they're wolves, you guys. They're wolves. And I have all the marks of it. So I think that dog was just like, yeah, you're into wolves? I don't know. I like animals. That's weird. We're moving on.
See, usually it's the men that he goes for. So he's like, yeah, you are the other top dog here tonight. Let's do this.
Oh dear. Here we go. Your soul is just as valid as anyone else's. Once you figure that out, you can free yourself from the societal restrictions and really empower yourself and others. 100%. Thank you for these comments. They are really beautiful.
So as the great '90s poet said, free your mind and your ass will follow.
There you go. Oh, but I had something to say about what you were. Oh, okay, yeah. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is that I'm actually a certified hypnotist. And I've done stage hypnotist shows, and but I use hypnotism quite a bit in my practice. I use it for myself, and then those who do my courses, we have meditations, which is basically, it's hypnosis, right? You're using trance-inducing techniques to get into a state so that you can access these other realms, right? And so I don't look at it as any different. I'm not I don't split hairs and go, well, this is magic, and then this is science, and then this is hypnotism. To me, it's all interconnected. And so speaking on that, the placebo effect, and then the voodoo doctor that you were just talking about, it's like, well, just because you understand how something works, does it make it less magic? And this is like a thought that I really love to ponder, and I love to pose to people, because people get kind of twisted around it. Well, once we can scientifically understand it, well, then that's science. And it's like, but could science be magic? And so this is an interesting conversation. And
this reminds me of another story. It was some explorers in the Amazon in the 1940s contacted a tribe that had never been contacted by man before, by modern man.
Okay.
By modern man. And the leader of the expedition pulls out his lighter and makes fire from his fingertips.
Right.
And they have a translator that speaks the native tongue, and they welcome him into the tribe, but they are very clear. This man is a normal person. They just have more technology, or what they have more ways, more knowledge. 5 days later, they call in a water plane to land in to pull them out. And he brings the whole tribe to show them that this flight of a plane, that man knows how to fly now. They bring the plane in, they land it, and the chief says, of course you can fly. You made fire. It doesn't matter the level of technology. The little things that are magic will always be magic. There are people that turning on the water on the second floor of a house, that's magic in some way because they don't understand it. It's still your own soulful intentions. Great. Let's find a way to figure out how that works. I would love to know. I would love to know the physics behind it. I've seen enough evidence that I'm fairly convinced it works. I don't know how. Is it magic? Yes. If they define it, will it still be magic? Yes. Because it's still me and my intention doing it.
Right.
Same with art. Same with me taking a piece of wood and turning it into something. I look at it and say, how did I do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Which total, kind of side note there on that, but it's amazing how society expects us to show the power of creation by bearing children, but the art industry is so frowned upon. The reason
by
starving
burying children?
Yeah, having children.
Oh, I heard burying. I'm going to bury some kids. Burying children, yes. Okay, got it.
Sounds like fun to me.
Giving birth to a baby.
Giving birth. I'm not connecting the dots.
I'm loving this conversation right now.
Making a human
Making
is
a human.
expected, but making anything else is frowned upon. The term starving artist is a thing we've all heard, we're all aware of. Everybody will tell you, oh, you want to start your own business as an artist? Don't do it. You're only going to starve. You're not going to be able to do it. They tell you that. Even people who are artists tell you that.
Yeah.
But having a baby
Right.
is great. It's just
Right.
what?
Right.
The magic and the creation should still be there no matter what it is you're creating.
Right. I think that, this is actually a really big conversation, but we've only got a few minutes left. But I'm like, you went into the artist conversation. I know, I told you, it goes by so fast.
I know.
So fast. But I love what you're touching on. I wish we had a whole other hour
So
to
next
expand on
time.
that. Yeah, next time. Because you actually have a business, and we could talk about that too. But you guys, there's going to be more. We will be doing individuals, and we'll do a whole hour of ghost stories and a whole hour of weird artist witchy shit. And please share your book
I'm
with
just
us.
going to do my little shameless self-promotion.
Do it.
Of course, go to austinghosttours.com. That's austinghosttours.com, not the other people. But also, you can check out my book, The Spirits of 6th Street, Austin's Most Haunted Path. All my favorite stories, mysteries, and histories of 6th Street. Available on Amazon.com for $13. Or take my tour and buy it directly from me after the tour for only $10. And those are signed. Ooh.
Yay,
That should
signed.
showing up. There you go.
Hey, Mike. Glad you're here. If you're just tuning in, the full hour is recorded. You can go to my YouTube channel at That Witch Zoe and watch the full thing. Also, a very special thanks to Psychicfixes. Psychicfixes is actually a online Facebook community of psychics, mediums, that type of stuff. But they have shows that regularly rotate. And Debbie, who is the creator of it, is an amazing woman, great medium out in San Diego. But we met and became instant friends. She asked me to do this show, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So she's the reason why we're on here. Big shout out to Psychicfixes. Go give them a like and check out all the other amazing content on there. But also go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe because that helps me. And Emylie, please tell them where they could find you.
I have a website called sirenemylie.com. However, my name is spelled E-M-Y-L-I-E. Emylie. Emylie. Spelled out that way. So sirenemily.com. It's all aquatic themed art, apparel, and jewelry.
And then Maverick, you just shared your book, but where else could people?
Besides that, johnmaverick.com takes you to all things Maverick.
Okay, and that's where they could get the giant, huge resume of all the zillion
all
things
the
you do.
crazy stuff I do.
Perfect. You guys, this has been a lot of fun. I'm just gonna pop on here and see if there is anybody else that wants to.
Or any questions, now's
questions.
your chance.
Yeah, now's your chance. We've got 4 minutes. Last call. If anybody has any questions, please let us know. And
let's see if there's any of that.
there we go. I'm not seeing questions. But I do want to say, if you guys are interested in, let's say you're new on your path and you are interested in the craft, I do have on my business, houseofthewildling.com, we do have a course called Practical Magic, and it's like the fundamentals of witchcraft. Now, we ran that course a while back, and I'm going to re-release it probably within the next month or so as something that you can purchase to get the foundations down. Now, on that note, in light of what we were talking about, the way that my partner Fred and I teach it is we don't teach it from the perspective of memorize all these things. We actually give you an experiential journey through what the different elements feel like, what they work like. There's actual rituals, there's spells, there are meditations to get you in tune with your own intuition, because that is one thing I really harp on when you're learning the craft. It's more about you really tuning into your personal power. And then all the memorizing shit, like, y'all can Google that. All of the information is there, right? So like my focus is more on how can we connect you with your power as a witch. And so that is really like a lot of what the course is focused on, along with the foundations, like the very base level stuff that, will help you out on your path. So if that's something of interest of you, go check out, it's not live yet, but go check out my website anyway, houseofthewildling.com, because we have lots going on there. But please stay tuned, because Practical Magic will be re-released within shortly. I don't want to give a date. I don't want to commit to a date. I'm just going to say soon.
When will soon be now?
But yes, exactly. Just wanted to say I work with demons if you are looking for anyone. Yes, we could definitely talk. Shoot me a message. And Emylie, it was a pleasure discovering your path.
Aww.
Yes, it was. Thank you for being here.
Aww.
Aren't they amazing? They're just like amazing people. And it's like the coolest thing that I get to like hang out with the coolest people.
I just want to say it's really nice to have people in my house
for the first
time in a while.
Like outside of our quarantine.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I know. Because we're all vaccinated. We're all vaccinated. Go get your vaccines if you have not yet.
Do it.
Your Fauci ouchie.
Fauci ouchie.
Okay. One last thing. Curious. Just, can you feel the intent in the ring right? You know it was made for you, right? If you can, it really proves your points about creation and intent. I will say this, that I love wearing it, and when I wear it, I feel very it's almost like a and I don't mean this in a bad way, I don't mean it in a guarded way, but it's almost like putting on armor. Like when you put on pieces of jewelry that like resonate, it's like, oh, okay, I feel like complete. I feel like I'm ready to go out in the world. So thank you so much. It really is a beautiful ring.
I definitely have pieces like that.
I feel that about a lot of my tattoos.
Aw,
Oh,
cute.
such a nice
Hello, my
surprise.
dear.
Hey, sister, I love you.
That is everybody. This is Emylie's beautiful sister, who is also an amazing artist.
Yes.
River Rifley.
River Rifley is my sister.
And you are missed.
My little sister. I want to like
Oh,
everybody.
I miss you too.
All right,
I'm sorry,
everybody,
Roger, I'm
we
so
are going to
happy.
sign off because we're going to eat steak
That's right.
and
I need
drink
a steak.
whiskey.
You got some catching up to do. I've been
I
drinking
do.
whiskey for an hour.
But yeah, I'm gonna eat some steak.
Yes.
Love you all. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, everybody, next week we have the part 2 of the Otherkin special. So it will basically be my coven, kind of all reuniting again to talk more about being an Otherkin. So if you have any questions about what we talked about in the last episode, think about it and ask them in our return next week. So good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.